Now, some of the other things that you could do is you could change the background color or background image. You can have a background image layout. You can change the cursor. You could also change the font. And again, these are all things that you kind of, let me just kind of scoot this up just a little bit so we get a bigger picture. You can see that right now you can change the font, name, the point size, whether it's bold or not. And again, you know, there are a lot of various settings that you have out here. There are also settings that will allow you to do drag and drop or validate, whether you want to have data binding set up. And again, we're going to talk about data after a while, so I don't want to overwhelm you with too many different things because I want to keep the topic rather granular. And of course, then we have this design, what we can have the various default languages set up. And again, as you can see, I've got all of the various languages out here. And again, you pick up the language that you need to have in your environment. And of course, the focus, we talked a little bit about focus before, but I'll cover that in just a little bit more detail here in this segment right here. And of course, you've got the layout component right here, and then miscellaneous and the Windows style. And of course, there are some very important things in the Windows style, whether or not you have a control box, true or false, whether you've got a help button. You can have change this icon right here. Is a MDI container. MDI and SDI are two different terms that you probably need to understand a little bit. An MDI application, or multiple document interface application, is an application that you can have multiple windows open at one time. And again, Visual Studio itself, with the tabs right here and here, and the ability to open up multiple programs, is in fact an MDI application. An application that is a single document interface only has one document or one thing open at a time, and then when you close it, it's done and gone. So the other thing is that you've got is the menu strip, the maximize box again. So if I go ahead and click on that and say false, you'll look at the windows right here at the maximize button. You'll actually see that change. So notice it is kind of grayed out. That is called an enable property. So it's either enabled or not enabled. Another one that you would see periodically is visible and not visible. So again, you can see taskbars, you can see size, grip, style, topmost, transparency key. All of these are basically parameters. And notice down here at the bottom in the properties that when you start clicking on some of these, it indicates what it is that particular property is. So it's very easy to follow. And again, it's a very intuitive environment and easy to get around in. Okay, we've got our Windows form here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a few components on here. So you see all of the common controls that are out here. And let's say I just want to go ahead and take a button here. Notice the tool tips comes up and tells you what it is that the component does. So what I'll do is I'll just left mouse click and just kind of drop it over, hold my left button down and just kind of drop it on this form wherever I want. Oh, let's just say I want it right here. And the button 1 magically appears. Oh, I like 1. Let's just do 2. I'll just grab another one and just come right on down here. Now notice this line right here. This is the snap line right here. And again, what it's doing at this particular point is I'm aligning this next control to the other control that's already there, and I'm aligning it to the bottom. And again, if I wanted to go ahead and choose a third button, I could go ahead and put it there. But let's try something that's just a little different. Let's just go ahead and stick the label out here. Again, I'll put left mouse click the button, and again, if I wanted to go ahead and move the label, notice where the snap lines are now. I'm aligning this particular component, this label component control, to this part in the form. And again, if I just go ahead and unclick the mouse button, you'll see the label actually appears. And if you see this little kind of crosshair icon that's floating over label, if I just now click on label and just move it down, again, he'll move down, and again, you notice that the snap line came and aligned it right next to the edge of this form. Again, you can have all kinds of components. Let me see if I've got another one that I'll do. I'll just do a text box right here. So again, I'll left mouse click and hold it down, and then just go ahead and just put it right there and just drop it on the form. So again, I'll put another one out there too, text box, and just put that right there so you can see what it is that's happening. Now, all of this is fine, well, and good. Let's say I just wanted to resize this window just a little bit. So again, I can change the size of the window. I can, if I go down here and hold the left mouse button down, I can select a group of controls and just move them around like this. And notice where the snap line is. It basically shows me where my alignment is to the various controls. But that's not the only thing that this will do. So let me go ahead and just move this down here and say I want to go ahead and select the button one first, and then I'll hold down the shift key on your keyboard, and then select another button here. And notice that these are colored differently. One has got these little white squares around here, and then this other one has a little black squares. Again, basically, this is the anchor one, that will basically be used to go ahead and affect things like alignment. So let's say I want to go ahead and modify this. So I'm going to, let's say I want to decrease the vertical spacing. Notice up here on the toolbar, I'm pointing to the decrease vertical spacing tool button there. So I just click on that. Notice what happens to button 2. Okay, the same is also available. The same capability is also available. If I wanted to go ahead and say, I'll click on button 1 first, hold the shift key down, and click on button 2, I can go ahead and say increase the horizontal spacing or decrease the horizontal spacing. So if I just repeatedly click on that, I can just move this over. Now, the other thing is I can remove the horizontal spacing, and basically what happens is that the two buttons become concatenated. They are put right next to each other. And again, if I say, well, that's too close, I just want to increase the horizontal spacing. No, that's just one more. And yeah, that's aesthetically pleasing right there. So again, if I wanted to go ahead and modify these components right here, again, I could go ahead and do the same thing. If I wanted to go ahead and, let's say, increase the vertical spacing, notice what's going on there. Now, notice in this particular case, I'm increasing the vertical spacing away from this one right here. I could just as easily go through and modify that by saying, click on that one first, shift and hold, and click on that one, and now I could just go ahead and decrease the vertical spacing again. Okay, so all that's fine, well and good. Now let's go ahead and start, let's go ahead and see if this compiles. So I'm going to go ahead and say build, and I'm just going to go ahead and build TDOWin. Now notice that we haven't assigned any real functionality. We've just kind of laid some things out on this form so that we can kind of see what it is that's going on. So it's going to go ahead and build. Let me go ahead and open up. Notice that at the bottom here it says build succeeded. And in my output window, I basically see the results: build 1 succeeded, or up to date, 0 failed, or 0 skipped. That means everything is fine. What I can do is I can come up here to this little button right here, and it says start debugging. I could also press the F5 key, or I could go up here to debug and click on that, and then just click on start debugging. I'll go ahead and do that. So what's going to happen is, again, if there's a need for another build to happen, it will go ahead and rebuild it at that point in time. If not, it will go ahead and start running the program right here. Now, notice what's happened. I see my program here. Notice how close it is to this. As a matter of fact, it's exact. So I see button 1, button 2. If I click on any one of these buttons, nothing happens. I haven't created any code in there to actually assign activity to that. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and close right now, and we'll see, and I'm back to my design environment. So let's see. I want to go ahead and assign something else, or change this button here. So I've got this appearance again. Notice that I have a category here for an appearance for the button. We had the same thing for appearance for this form here. Notice you'll see a lot of the same parameters and properties that are assigned to all of these various controls. They're all very, very consistent. So if you learn how to use one control, you know how to use the others. So I'm going to go ahead and just rename the text on this. So I'll just call this click me, okay, and press enter. And notice what happens to that button. It now says click me. And I'll do something very similar to that. Now notice button 2, and I got a little bit ahead of myself, so I'm just going to close that. We're going to come back to that just in a moment. That's the code behind If I click on button 2, I can click on the text for that one as well, and I'll say click me next. Now, notice what happens. I have my text here, and notice all I see is click me. Well, the reason for that is that the text is actually larger than the allowed space for the button. So what happens is that you may or may not see the component or the rest of the text in the component until you actually make the size of the button just a little bit bigger.